Hey, Dr. Karin here. Spiritual awakening is one of the most life-transforming experiences that you will have, and while it's mostly incredible, it can also be extremely challenging and cause you to go through a breakdown before your breakthrough. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about why that's happening and ways to help you navigate it. Let's get into it. So most people, as they're going through a spiritual awakening, as they start their spiritual awakening, me included, have gone through a very life-changing, very often traumatic event. This feels like, why was that so necessary, universe, really to put me through this? Often we call it a dark night of the soul. Often it's kind of a total loss of self, a total loss of what the belief systems were that you had before because you went through an event that changed everything. Maybe you just went through a change of identity. Maybe you've lost everything in a restructure in your life. Maybe you've lost someone very close to you, or maybe you've gotten a diagnosis, something that cataclysmically changes your life, because your soul in that moment, actually the beautiful part of it, even as you're going through this challenging thing, I want to just remind you there is a purpose to it. Your soul chose that time stamp in your timeline of your life because you were ready to go through this breakdown so you can go through the breakthrough. There's a purpose to all of it. It's all helping to guide you through a deconstruction of your former self. Challenging, yes, but the end result is going to be a reconstruction of a new you. You know, the universe knows sometimes that it has to shake us and break us. Again, you're not being punished, but we've chosen to shake things up in our life because our soul is ready in this lifetime to go through a change that then is going to lead to a spiritual path of higher purpose. Now, mind you, I'm here to empower you. So many of us go through breakdown moments. Actually, all of us go through traumatic events. You know, we all go through painful experiences. And when we go through those, you have a choice. And I'm here to say that if you're here watching this video, you're being given a choice by your higher self, by God, by the universe. You're not being tested. You're just given a choice by your soul in this life, in this moment. Are you ready to make a change based on what you are experiencing or have just experienced? Are you willing to let go of an old way of thinking, maybe old beliefs you were clinging to, maybe being the victim, maybe being held in fear or shame or whatever it is that you were living life like, living your life for someone else perhaps, maybe living your life to please society or to please your parents? Are you willing to let go no matter how uncomfortable it is and lean into a new awareness, a new level of consciousness that while the change might be a little bit challenging, it will bring you to a place of higher consciousness, a place where you can follow your soul's path more solidly, more completely, more blissfully than had you stayed in a state of consciousness. Spirit showed me that what happens here is, are you going to stay where you are and go back? Or are you going to raise your hand and say, I'm ready? Take me on the journey. If you're ready, I want to help you walk down that path. So there's a saying that a lot of us in the spiritual community kind of say, and that is spiritual awakening ain't for sissies, okay? So this cataclysmic event that happens, congratulations, if it's happened to you, it means that you are ready, you are strong enough to face. Again, it's your choice, but you are strong enough to face what is happening in your life and what has happened. You have everything that you need to get through this. So in my own journey, the top question I get is, what happened in your spiritual awakening? What was the event? Well, without getting into too many details, the event that happened in my life, I was living a life where I felt like a victim. I was in a really, really toxic relationship. I was raising 3 children, feeling very alone and isolated, and I was just going through a state of confusion. And then I lost someone really, really close to me in a really traumatic event. A lot of supernatural experiences happened around this loss. It was a very life-changing experience, to say the least. It literally shattered everything that I ever believed about life. You know, you're taught in the church, basically good things happen to good people, bad things happen to bad people. If you're living, you know, this Christian life, good things are going to happen. Well, obviously that's not true. Bad things still happen to really good people, but you know, we say good and bad. That's relative. It's really not bad. What it is it's a choice for you to go through this experience, have the discomfort, feel the feelings, and then raise your consciousness to a place that then elevates your spiritual growth, brings you to a new state of consciousness where you understand the purpose in all things. So when I lost this person in my life in a really traumatic way, the experience completely changed everything about who I was. I had a breakdown on every level, physical level. My hair started falling out. I lost like 20 pounds. I went through a very a deconstruction mentally. I got seriously depressed. I had this darkness around me. So much happened within a condensed amount of time. And I ended up looking for help through, I'm a trained psychotherapist. I was raised with a religious and psychological background. I couldn't find any of my answers that I needed. I was trying everything desperately to feel better, and I couldn't find anything that made sense until I reached out to people that were more in the woo-woo world. I reached out to a medium, I reached out to a shaman, and I was like, can y'all, just something inside me told me to reach out. And these were trusted people in the field. And the answers started coming. The explanations started coming. All the confusion that I had over what I had experienced and was experiencing, it started making sense, because then instead of looking at it on a mental and psychological level, which is what what I had been trained to do, I started looking at it from a higher perspective, not from a religious perspective, but a spiritual perspective, a perspective that was about life evolution. And that's when I leaned into all of the changing that I went through, the evolution that I went through. I started studying all the material on spiritual awakening. And I want to walk you through now through some of the process that you might be experiencing as you continue your own journey. So one of the first things that happens in the journey is that you start to question your old belief systems, right? Like with me, with this loss of this loved one, so many things that were happening, it did not line up with what I was finding in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. I couldn't find the answers anywhere. Of course, they may have been there and been mistranslated, but I was finding the answers in spiritual teachings. And what I realized then is we go through this evolution. So you probably have heard talk about 3D, 4D, 5D. These are dimensional levels of existence. So the old paradigm is a very 3D existence, and it was all about 3D is about right and wrong. It's been where we've been in this Western world and collectively as a planet, right and wrong, good and bad, judgment, competition. There's a separation from the divine. There's a separation from each other. There's all this about ego and one-upping each other and how to get what we can get, the most that we can get, and feeling bad if we don't get it, regretting things in the past, shame. All of those are very low level frequency emotions, experiences. As you go into the 4D level, 4-dimensional level of consciousness, which is what you're going through right now, if you're going through a spiritual awakening, you're starting to question everything. You can feel things. You may actually be having, like for me, I was losing weight, hair was falling out. I have a friend whose actually skin kind of shed, like in this very symbolic metamorphosis on a physical level. You're letting go of the old as you're going into 4th dimensional consciousness. You're supposed to be questioning. It's supposed to be really uncomfortable. The answers that you thought were true are not supposed to make sense anymore. Congratulations, you're being ushered into higher levels of frequency. So as you're going through 4th dimension, you really want to, you're feeling an urge to connect with nature. You're feeling an urge to connect more with higher vibrational people. You don't really resonate with those people that, maybe they're gossiping a lot or complaining a lot or doing things that just don't feel right to you anymore. You want to spend more time in nature. You want to spend more time communicating with your angels. You want to know what all these crystals are about. You're questioning all these things that before, if you were like me, may have been told they're, mystical, or they're woo-woo, or they're like of the devil. That's what I was told. They were of the occult. That's what the church taught me. And you're like, well, wait a minute, there may be something to these because I feel really good when I'm around them. So as you're going through this investigation, this curious exploration, you're letting go of the things that no longer match your newly forming belief system. Now, as we're going into New Earth, which is what we're going towards collectively right now and individually, we're going through a metamorphosis into 5D, 5-dimensional existence, which is where we're in a state of Christ consciousness, which is where we're in a state of collaboration and love. It's going to take us a little bit to get there, but we're on our way, and we have moments where we feel very much in this state of being, and that's what you're striving for, what you're wanting to strive for as you're waking up, is more time in this 5D awareness, connection, oneness. You want everyone to win. You want everyone to feel love. You're feeling more compassion for not only others, but even compassion for yourself. You no longer judge your past. You're feeling that sense of total acceptance for all that you are, all that you have been, and all that is in the world around you. And that is an incredible feeling. Before I get into the final 2 things that are a really big part of the spiritual awakening process, if you like this video and like this information, I'd love for you to hit the like button below. And if you want to hear more about this evolutionary process, go ahead and subscribe to my channel by clicking the subscribe button below, because I want you to know when all this information comes out. Let's get back to the video. Two main experiences that you're going to go through as you're waking up are a little bit uncomfortable, but also amazing. So the first one is about relationships. You're going to notice again, as you're going through this breakdown, that relationships maybe are not aligning with you as much as they used to. And one of the biggest pointers I can give you as you're going through this stage, especially if you want to know if particularly maybe your main intimate relationship is still in alignment with you, if it's in alignment with your highest good, that's the prayer that I was always asked. Is this in alignment with my highest good as you're checking in? Is asking the universe to show you the truth. Because what's happening now is lenses are falling off of you. You're waking up, you're starting to see things more clearly. And you may or may not have a toxic person in your life, but if you do, and most people that I know that have gone through awakening have, maybe it could be a relative, it could be a friend that you've been really going through this like toxic cycle with, and you're noticing this one person in particular, this dynamic that you've had, like, I just can't do this anymore. Ask the universe to show you loudly and clearly the truth of the situation, and then be ready to receive it. For me, when I did that, when I was going through the awakening, it showed up like a dump truck of trash in my front yard. It's like all of a sudden, all this information started coming to me. And while I used to be able to ignore the little things here and there, it's like garbage pails were dumped right in front of me, and I could not dismiss what I was seeing any longer. That's the metaphor I choose because that's exactly what it felt like. And then again, it's a choice. Do you decide whether you're going to either A, keep things the way they are, or B, establish new boundaries where you're putting your own desires and your own needs and your own limits first? Or C, do you really need to remove the engagement with this person from your life? Do you need to maybe put up some more boundaries that say, I can't engage in this dynamic anymore because it's not good for my higher self? Now, mind you, as you're doing this, everyone's not going to understand you. You're probably also going to want to convert people around you to your new way of thinking. There's this tremendous urge as you're having this awareness to preach it all the time and show people, and I get it, I did it. It's something that you're ready for as the information is coming, but also be mindful that everybody's not where you are on this path, and that they have to walk their own spiritual journey and resist the temptation to convert everyone around you, because while it feels like you can see things clearly, they simply are not ready to receive it. And the final thing that is a sign that you've gone through the breakdown, but now you're going through the breakthrough, is that your intuition is really going to be heightening. So as you've gone through this cataclysmic event, and as you've raised your hand and asked, I'm ready to go through this awakening, as you've let some of the old go and you're ready for the new and you're asking for the truth and you want to get from breakdown to breakthrough, notice and be aware and be open to your intuition, your third eye, really popping open. Because again, what's happening is it's like the lenses that only saw things through the old paradigm are going away. They're falling because you have chosen to wake up to this new awareness. It might be uncomfortable. You might find out, like we're doing collectively, that things aren't the way they seemed. You might find a truth that you realize maybe you've been lied to or manipulated. You very likely will. And just know that the truth that is running through you is there in perfect time. You're ready to receive all of this new knowledge, all of this new awareness. This is the perfect time for you to really get a high vibe tribe around you, really look for support. You can find it online, you can find it in your local woo-woo shops. There are all kinds of groups that are meeting where you can be with like-minded folks that can help you walk this journey, that can support you as you continue to evolve as a spiritual being. So if you'd like to find a pathway to finding more people to be in your own high vibe tribe, I have a free masterclass waiting for you that's going to show you the steps to doing just that. It's a masterclass around activating your rebel soul. Click the link below. It's totally free. I would love to give you more information on this topic. I can't wait to see you there.